2012, the first VHS movie brought a nice twist to the found footage genre. It had cool stories, and it was pretty creepy. It also brought some of the best horror directors and gave them a platform to shine. A year later, they did it again. VHS 2 is probably my favorite of the franchise. The third film, VHS Viral, put a new spin on what they had been doing, bringing it into the digital age. VHS 94, which is probably the worst in my opinion, aside from Chloe Okuno's Storm Drain. This year, they brought us to the beginning of the millennium, with 5 new shorts from great directors. Shredding, written and directed by Maggie Levin, starring Verona Blue, Jessie LaTourette, Jackson Kelly, and Tybee Diskin. This one I found kind of boring. The casting is decent, but no one really stands out. There's not really any good gore, because the stuff either happens off screen, or the overused VHS effect covers it up. I just don't think the story idea was interesting enough for me. Suicide Bid, written and directed by Johannes Roberts, starring Ali Ionides, Isabel Hahn, and Caitlin Saros. This one's better than the previous one. It reminds me of the movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds. It's a nice play on claustrophobia and a few other phobias. I liked this one. It's reminiscent on how the first 3 VHS film segments were. Honestly, I thought it was going to be terrible at the start of it, but it definitely gets better. Ali Ionides is great, and I imagine she went through a tough time filming her scenes. Ozzy's Dungeon, directed by Flying Lotus, and written by Flying Lotus and Zoe Cooper, starring Amelia Ann, Sonia Eddy, and Stephen Ogg. Remember game shows like the Hidden Temple one and Double Dare? Well, Ozzy's Dungeons is something like that. Well, sort of. This one's weird. It starts off fun, but becomes quickly one of the most uncomfortable to watch of the bunch, and it's probably the best out of all of them. Sonia Eddy's great as the angry mother, and Stephen Ogg is hilarious as the show host. Gawkers, directed by Tyler MacIntyre, written by Tyler MacIntyre and Chris Lee Hill, starring Duncan Anderson, Tyler Lofton, Luke Mullen, and Emily Sweet. This one nails the youth of the 90s, but the references can be a little much. It's fun and goofy. The visual effects are not the best, but the story's pretty solid. The cast is pretty good, but again, no one really stands out. But it uses the VHS static effect in all the right places. To Hell and Back, written and directed by Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter, starring Joseph Winter, Archelius Crisanto, and Melanie Stone. The Winter duo did it again. Like with Deadstream, they were able to tell an interesting story with what looks like very little. It's kind of the silliest of the bunch, but it's definitely fun. The hidden cuts were well done, so it feels like a continuous shot, but it was nice to see more of the Winters style. I can't wait to see more by them. Overall, it's better than the last entry. Some of the segments were of the caliber of the first 3 in the series. I would recommend this one over 94, but I think I'd place it right after Viral. Well, thanks.